What's going on? So this week I want to spend a little time. Uh, what's going on? So this week I want to spend a little time talking about decision making because I think it's something that is obviously super important, and our ability to make good decisions only intensifies or increases with the importance of that decision. And as a business owner or somebody trying to start a business, this is something I don't see talked about a lot, at least. How to approach the decisions you make and set yourself up, or at least get rid of the biases or the things holding you back, and instead make decisions that actually propel you forward. So as some of you may know, I recently posted a video about how my partner and I are heading in different directions, and so that's a pretty significant event for a startup, something that actually does a lot of startups in. And so that presents a new responsibility or a new task or hurdle to overcome. And so with that comes decisions, right? So how am I responding to that? Well, I'm going to try and be as general here as possible, just so you can kind of break this down for yourself and maybe apply it to your own situations. But generally, what I'm doing is looking at it in a way where, okay, so we've just agreed that, for instance, that a co-founder leaving is at least important enough to address, lo and behold. And so that, what can we do about that, right? So in my mind, you can either A, replace that person with somebody else, or B, not replace them at all, or C, you can do it yourself. And so obviously the middle option B, which I don't know why I made it the option that isn't an option B, but I did. So option B, not replacing that person, that's not an option if you want to continue operating, because presumably you have a co-founder because they're offering skills that you just don't have that are required for the business to be successful. And so option B is not, we can cut that out. So that leaves option A and option C, where either I need to find somebody to replace that person or do it myself. And so with each of those require different tasks, different responsibilities I'll have to take on for myself. For instance, if I'm going to replace that person, presumably I'm going to start tapping my network and looking for people, seeing who knows people that may be interested in such a position. Generally kind of marketing it somehow in some creative way, finding pools of people that you think may be talented, and making your pitch, or whatever it is. A lot of investigation needs to go into that path and effort. And so you can either do that, or you got the do-it-yourself option, which is going to require things like learning to code or learning new skills that you just don't have at the moment, and that may seem almost insurmountable in the sense that there's just so much that you don't even know where to begin. But the point here that I'm trying to illustrate is really that both paths, they have their own different responsibilities and different activities that you would otherwise be you'd be taking if you pursued either path. And so what I'm doing, and this is what I'll find out whether it's dumb or not. So presumably, learning to code, for instance, the situation I'm facing where my partner is a developer, he knows how to code, which is a very complex skill set. And so learning to do that from scratch, or from nearly scratch rather, is a large task. And so that might have a certain weighted probability of success with choosing that path. And then we have the replacement option, where you need to find somebody with the skill set that you need, for instance, the entrepreneurial type of outlook and like do-it-yourselfness, and you need to be aligned on a vision. They need to be enthusiastic, but there's a lot of things that go into finding a partner that will work successfully. That there's a weighted probability with that succeeding as well. So both of those taken together have their own weighted probabilities, and it's why I'm choosing both, I guess you could say. And the way that I'm doing that is maybe not going all in on one or the other, but as it is in entrepreneurship, we don't have the answers. We don't know how either is going to work out, and so we have to try things. And when we try things, we start we're moving forward at least. We're pushing ourselves forward, pushing the business forward, but pushing ourselves to the edges of our capabilities, if you will. But there's a sense of accomplishment that comes with that at the least. And so in my choosing both, so what I've done is for instance, right now I'm learning Python, and I'm also trying to come up with ways to figure out whether I can fill that position with somebody else. I'm not sitting here saying I'm going to become an all-star developer and build or rebuild our product from scratch in a new language or whatever it is. But I think the act of moving forward and stepping in to fill the gaps and doing what I can right now in all I know how to do, essentially, that is a big part of what I think at least drives entrepreneurial success. Again, I'm not looking at it as I'm going to become an all-star developer, but I think in my better understanding of how code works, how to build products, how to, maybe manage some best practices with, managing a development team, or, expectation setting with project timelines and resource requirements and things like that. I think it will ultimately end up helping and will contribute in some way, maybe not directly to the success, but it at least contributes partially. And so I think if we can, there's again those weighted probabilities of success. I think ultimately those, if you do enough of those things, small things that have a weighted probability that is great enough, you will achieve success, if that makes any sense. That's how I'm structuring. That's what I'm doing right now. Just moving forward. It's just moving forward, like one of those icebreaker ships going through the Antarctic or something. Yeah. So I think, again, if I can just take a step back, almost more generally, just try and break down every problem that you have. First off, is the problem big enough to where you need to address it, and how urgent is that need? And then, break down your paths forward, or your options, in the most basic form possible. Sort of weight what you think, forecast what you think the chances of success are, or the probability of something working out or not, and then do whatever combination of activities that you can increase or optimize your chances of perceived success, at least from the outset. As we go down this path and we learn, we're going to always pivot and adjust the plan going forward, but for now all we can do is act on what we know. And so hopefully that's helpful to some of you that maybe you're in a rut and don't know what to be doing. And so that's my tidbit for the week. And if you have any comments, please leave them below. Otherwise, have a great weekend, and I will see you all next week.